How am I supposed to complete my Dark Avengers without a Dark Ms. Marvel, aka Moonstone? How in the heck have 4 Marvel movies featuring Idris Elba yielded a total of 0 figures based on his likeness? What other Marvel Legends figures haven't found their way into the line? I'm Dan Larson, and this is the top 10 most wanted Marvel Legends. Quick note, I limited this list to figures that could realistically be produced in the next few years. Right now, Marvel Disney is putting the screws to Fox so hard that there is no possibility of any Marvel Legends being produced for the X-Men or Fantastic Four franchises. So even though we are due for an updated Jim Lee 90s Cyclops, that's not going to happen anytime soon. No Michael Fassbender Magneto. Magneto? Do you say Magneto or Magneto?
Magneto.
Magneto? No Silver Samurai, no Dazzler, no Multiple Man, no Silver Surfer, no X-Men or Fantastic Four, period. At number 10 is Captain America First Avenger Bucky. Marvel Legends has been relatively gun-shy attempting characters from the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, they did an entire wave from Guardians of the Galaxy, but most of the movie waves only have 1 or 2 characters at most modeled after their on-screen looks. Sebastian Stan Bucky should have been a no-brainer, especially considering his inclusion in the Winter Soldier wave, and the likelihood that we will see his return in Captain America Civil War, and the potential for him to actually wield the shield as Captain America. Number 9 is Silk, fresh from her debut as part of the Spider-Verse event in the comics. Spider-Verse saw Spider-Man and Spider-themed characters from all over the Marvel multiverse joining together to defeat the evil Inheritors. Cindy Moon, aka Silk, was, as it turns out, bitten by the same radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker back in the day and has pretty much all the same powers as him to varying degrees, but throw in organic fingertip web shooters and the ability to give Peter Parker super boners. Spider boners? I wrote super boners. Number 8 is Dark Ms. Marvel, aka Moonstone. When Norman Osborn was the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., he set up his own team of Avengers, recruiting several villains to take on the names and costumes of the Avengers, like Bullseye filling in for Hawkeye, Venom for Spider-Man, and very obscure Moonstone for less obscure Ms. Marvel. The only way to complete your Dark Avengers team is to get that specific version of that Ms. Marvel costume, and they haven't made it yet. Number 7 is Sif, or more formally, Lady Sif, Thor's on-again, off-again love interest, and the only gal with the fighting prowess to stand with the Warriors 3, but not so much prowess that they rebrand themselves as the Warriors 4. Your call, Hasbro. I don't care if it's based on her look in the comics or the cinematic universe, but we can't have this many Thors without a single Sif. Number 6 is Heimdall, but more specifically the Idris Elba Heimdall. He's been in 4 Marvel movies, 3 of them as Heimdall. What's it take to get the guy a figure? How many times are the films going to lean on him for exposition, for escape, for badassery before we see him on the shelf? Number 5 is Ronan from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I have to assume that if Marvel and Hasbro had any idea that the movie was going to be as big as it was, they would have planned a second wave, and if they did, a movie-styled Ronan would have been in there. He held an Infinity Stone, for crying out loud. He was in a dance-off with Star-Lord. It seems like they could have put him in the initial wave instead of that awful Space Iron Man. We didn't need another Iron Man, and we definitely did not need that suit. Number 4 is Avengers Age of Ultron Scarlet Witch. Yes, they put a Scarlet Witch in the Avengers wave that was released during the push for Age of Ultron, but they took the safe route and made it the comic-styled Scarlet Witch. She's obviously going to be playing a significant role going forward as a member of Cap and Widow's new Avengers, so I have to assume Hasbro will make this happen sooner or later. Number 3 is Cinematic Universe Falcon, another figure that seems like it should have been a no-brainer for Winter Soldier. Hasbro opted to cram that wave with recycled molds and army builder minions. We got a great ScarJo Black Widow, complete with an alternate head, and a Winter Soldier Bucky, but that was it for new movie representation. Marvel Select put out a great Falcon figure, but those figures just don't scale with the Legends. They're too tall. They're just too tall. Number 2, Spider Gwen, or more properly, Spider-Woman, also comes from the recent Spider-Verse event in the comics. She's an alternate timeline version of Gwen Stacy where she gets bit by the radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker. The comics world went cuckoo crazy over Spider-Gwen, mainly due to the inspired costume design from artist Robbie Rodriguez. Recent waves of Spider-Man Marvel Legends have covered several versions of Spider-Woman and Spider-Girl, so with a little luck, Spider-Gwen is on the list down the road. Number 1 is a personal favorite, Spider-Ham. Thanks to Spider-Verse, Spider-Ham officially exists in the Marvel Universe proper. He fought alongside Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Gwen, Silk, and all the others. He's been in comics since 1983, and if that's not reason enough to make a figure, maybe this will change your mind. I drew that when I was 12. Please don't make me wait any longer. That's the list. Thanks for watching, and please let me know who I left out. I know there are other characters that people have been waiting on. Let me know who your top 10 is by leaving a comment below. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on the future lists.